What's up? I want to welcome you to the Elite Shot. If this is your first time watching our channel, I need you to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to notify when we drop a new video. Today, I'm interviewing
Zach Stepp.
Zach Stepp. Let's get into it.
All right.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I grew up actually in Sheffield Village, so we're in Avon Lake today. So I grew up not too far from here, probably like 5-minute drive. I grew up, my parents were landscapers, and we grew up like many people, I think, in Lorain County do. I know there's a certain grit to people in Lorain County. People work for what they got, and I like to think that I grew up that way. Actually, before college and before ever thinking about politics and stuff, I worked in have you ever been to Five Guys? The burger place? You like burgers?
Yes.
Yeah, well, have you been to Five Guys before?
No.
Maybe, no? Well, you have to try the burger there sometime, yeah, Dad? So I actually started working there. I worked there for a couple years and was thinking I would maybe do that for a little while, and ended up getting a scholarship to go away to school. Then I went away to school and got to do some really incredible stuff, and when I was done with school, I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do, and I kept thinking, well, I think we need to get more young people in elected office. We need more young people back here in Ohio. We need people working at the issues of this state, and I felt like I had somewhat of a calling to give back and try and repair some of the craziness we got in politics. You probably see some of the politics going on, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes, and it's really hard to watch, but it's easy to turn off the channel. It's hard to get involved and try and change it. And I decided after that I wanted to come back and change it. So I started working on a congressional race. I mean, you interviewed Shannon, you said, right? So
Yeah.
I worked for the woman who ran in that seat before Shannon. So I was her campaign manager before. And then after that race, we didn't win, but it was a great experience. I moved away to D.C. And I worked in the Department of Defense as a contractor. And then I still do that today, but I work from here. And now I'm running for this state house seat. I don't know how much you know about Columbus government, but there's the federal level, the people in DC for Shannon, right? But I would be working down in Columbus, so working at state issues. And we definitely need new leadership in the state house as well as Columbus. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
All right.
So, how will your upbringing help you in office?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's an important question, and I think it's only a benefit. Sometimes I find when I talk about my story or my background, sometimes people, they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry you had to go through that," or "I'm sorry," and I don't want anyone to be sorry. I think it makes me a stronger person, and I think it brings a perspective that other people don't have. I think we need more people with a perspective of what it is like to work and what it's like to struggle, because ultimately most people are struggling right now. People are struggling to pay bills. People are struggling to to run schools on the shoestring budgets, and I think it's important that we have leaders that are in touch with those everyday struggles. So I hope to think that my upbringing will give me a better perspective and better be able to enable me to solve problems that people are facing.
You seem kind of young to be running for office.
I'll take that as a compliment. You think that? What do you think? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, or what's it make you think when you see someone young running?
We need some young leaders in our life.
No, we do. We really do. And I think we talked about perspective when you asked the good question about the upbringing. I also think we need people with the perspective of the issues that are going to affect young people, right? Because it's not going to be your dad that's going to be dealing with climate change. It's going to be you. It's not going to be your dad dealing with the downstream effects of us not upgrading our infrastructure, right? It's when you're older, when you're your dad's age, we don't want these problems to be the same way that they are. We want to fix them now so that when we can actually make progress in the next 20 years, because a lot of the people that are in elected office right now, they're not going to be around to see the effects of the damaging policies that they have. So I think it's really good to have more young people engaged and in pursuing stuff like that. Yeah.
What is your plan to bring out young voters?
It's a good question. It's doing interviews with people like you, right? You're gonna be able. You got more young friends than I do, but I think it's important that we talk to people where they are. I mean, I think social media, Facebook. Are you on Facebook? I know you messaged me from your dad's Facebook, so I know your dad's on Facebook. But we got a lot of young people on Facebook. We got young people on Instagram, you got to talk to people where they are. So instead of back in the day, you would do a lot of phone calls. Not many people my age actually have landline phones anymore. So instead of calling people's phones, we'll try something a little bit different and try and text them, right? So we'll text them instead, and I think that's a better way to reach people and get your message out. So you have to kind of adapt the way that you're trying to talk to people when you're thinking about bringing out the youth vote. But I think we got like 7 interns last time I checked. So we got 7 interns. You're looking for an internship, we'll keep you busy. But we got like 7 high school or college students that are helping us out and getting their friends registered, making sure that their friends go out and vote.
Okay. So, how have you been able to use your youth to your advantage?
Well, I think it's those things that we were just talking about. Like, I think I grew up with more social media. I grew up kind of with some of these tools and knowing how we need to reach young people just because of the way I use technology and the way I use social media, So I think that's definitely a benefit there. So, and I also think it's a benefit because of we talked about the perspective as well. I think people right now want young people. I think people want to see more young people in elected office. So I think it's a good thing.
How did you meet President Obama?
Good question. You saw the picture?
Yes.
So he came and spoke. I've seen him speak a couple times. Once in Chicago, a couple times in Chicago actually. And it was the first public appearance that he did when he left office. So this was in 2017. He came and did a public speech at the college that I went to. I went to the University of Chicago, and he actually was a professor at the law school there before he ran for president. So he actually has a house right close by on campus. And he's friends with a mentor of mine, David Axelrod, and he was able to get him to come and do an event. And then there were some of us that got to meet him beforehand. And he's just as cool in person as you would think. He's someone that you walk into a room and he kind of just sucks the air out, and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" And everyone's giddy, just kind of watching it. But I'll definitely never forget that. Really, really great guy.
What did you learn from the conversation with President Obama?
What did I learn? His message was, don't have faith or hope in my ability to bring about change. He says you need to have hope and confidence in your own ability to bring out change. Right? That was his thing. It was, I couldn't change everything, I couldn't fix everything, but I hope that I can inspire enough young people to trick themselves into thinking that they can also make a difference. And that was his message of wanting to get young people involved. So, I do think by running for this, it's kind of taking him up on that advice, and throwing yourself into the arena, not assuming that you can't do things, And so I like to think I'm answering that call by running for this office.
Okay. Is there a safe way for my friends and I to return to school safe?
It's a good question. It's something I'm really concerned about right now, and I think that we don't understand everything about this virus, and I think that's what makes it scary for everyone. And I think the adults need to take leadership right now. I think we're really, really lacking in confident, clear, concise leadership. Right? We see a lot of people that are just throwing their hands up and saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna have to let people figure it out." And because I'm not just concerned about you and your friends, right? Because even if a lot of the scientists are saying, okay, well, young people, they're not as likely to get it, and that I believe is to be true. But what about your teachers? Think about how many adults you see during the day. How about the cafeteria worker, or the janitor that's coming and cleaning up after you guys? I'm really, really concerned about those people. And we want to make sure that we have a safe environment for them. And I think there's a lot of guidelines that came out. We don't have to go into detail on them, but they're going to be really expensive. It's going to be really expensive to re-outfit schools, to make sure that schools are as safe as they possibly can be. And I think if we can check all those boxes and do everything to make it safe, it would be great to get kids back into school. I'm not sure we can do it in the next month and a half. I really hope we do. I think we got some really great leadership in our public school system, especially in Elyria. We got great superintendent, great school board that's going to get you kids first, and I hope they'll put the teachers first too. But we got a lot of work to do, and I'm skeptical. We can't rush it. I think if we need to delay, make summer a little longer. Next summer might be a little bit shorter. But I think it's possible we might have to make this summer a little bit longer in order to give us enough time to do it. But what I do know is that we can't rush it. We can't open it too quickly because the consequences are too high. We don't want to put you guys at risk at all. So we need to be really, really careful about how we're doing this and put you guys first.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter and social justice?
It's an important question right now, especially as I think we have somewhat of an awakening across the country right now in the way that people are recognizing the importance of racial justice. And first and foremost, I think every single person that is in a leadership position shouldn't be afraid to say that Black Lives Matter. I think it's ridiculous that they're afraid to say that. So I 100% am with, and I was actually, when I was in DC for work a few weeks ago before the protests got really big, I attended one of them. So I've been at some of these protests, and I'll continue to try and be an ally in calling out injustices in our system, because we do have a very ugly history in this country. I like to think that we've come really far on race, but we have to recognize, well, okay, all these bad things that maybe our grandparents did, even if we're not racist, even if we're not acting in a way that would be considered that, we've got to recognize that history has consequences for today and actually take action based on that. So I definitely want to do everything I can when I get there to try and lift up voices that I feel like don't get enough attention, and make sure that that we're able to make some progress on this, because for too long we've just been talking the talk, but not actually taking strong action on it. There was a boy not much older than you that was killed in Cleveland, Tamir Rice, and it was from gun violence, and it makes me sick looking at today. It's just so hard to think about that happened, and we had a big uproar about kind of what we need to do to change policing and stuff, and these issues that people are talking about right now. And Governor Kasich at the time put together a commission, so a bunch of people got together and said, well, what can we do to fix this? And they gave them a long list of things that they said they could fix. You know how many of those things they did? None of them. And I think that's a shame, and we're seeing this repeat over and over again, and I am with the people that are very angry. I think that they're right to be very angry, and I think we need leaders to actually do something about it and not just say the right thing. But I hope that answers your question, but I think it's, I'm glad that you asked it, and I'm glad you're talking about it and asking people like myself about it, because, it's important that people are willing to stand up for it,
Is there anything else you want people to know about you?
I want people to know that I want the job. I want to actually, I really, I want to be able to serve this community. I want to be able to have a platform to help bring about some change that's going to help make sure that that kids like you have every single opportunity that I had as a kid. That's why I ended up wanting to come back and felt a need to come back, because right now, the way that we fund our public schools, the way that we have to make communities beg for resources in order to fix the roads or build a new school building, it's not the way that it should be. We gotta be putting kids first, and I really would like to have a platform to help make that happen. So, there we go.
How can people contact you?
My cell phone number is 440-396-5634. If you don't remember it, you can check the tape. People can text me, they can call me, they got my website, ZachStepp4Ohio.com. They can contact me on there, email me on there. But I get calls all the time from people, and we send out my personal number on postcards and stuff, and I want to make myself as available as possible, because if you're a public figure, you should be able to be reached. It shouldn't be hard to contact people. So if anything I can help you with, you call me, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for doing this. And hopefully I can help you connect you to more people, too, when I get down there. You'll be able to continue doing these interviews. That sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
I want to thank y'all for checking out my channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you're notified when we drop a new video. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Amazing.